Hello everyone, this is the Complaining Gamer, and guess what? We are here to talk about Medal of Honor, so let's get to it. Okay, so one of the first things that you see on any game is the menu, and this is where your first impression of the game starts to build. The menu on Medal of Honor, it isn't overwhelming, but at least it's non-offensive. It's very simple, very basic, and it does its job. Okay, so the game typically starts with a cutscene, and I was actually quite impressed with the quality of the cutscene, the actual graphics in the cutscene, but then I was very rapidly underwhelmed by the actual gameplay graphics. They're not horrible, but they're definitely not mind-blowing. On the upside, it doesn't ruin the overall experience of the game. Graphically, I just felt that the Medal of Honor single player was just very, very average. In fact, they made me think of Operation Flashpoint, a game which I absolutely hate. So, in the interest of fairness, let's try and show the game in its best light and worst light, just using some carefully selected screenshots. Just for the record, these are taken from captures I did on an Xbox 360. Where the graphics really fail is on the textures. It's just a bit hit and miss. Sometimes the textures are great, but other times they are appalling. For example, the shadows on the characters are terrible, and in the cutscenes, the guy that orders you around looks like he's a bit of a burn victim. How do you know if this game's for you? Well, if you like shooting an LMG whilst in a moving truck, kicking in doors, explosions, hostage rescue, kicking in more doors, laser guidance, shooting people in the head with the sniper, riding quad bikes, shooting people in the head at ridiculous distances, Taliban! Being the gunner in an Apache, and firing a minigun off the back of a Chinook. If any of that appeals to you, then this could be the game for you. Okay, that was just some fun, let's get down to business. I'd just like to give a shout out to the lefties out there. This game does not have southpaw, so sorry about that. Okay, so what can you expect from the game? Well, it is 100% scripted and path. There is zero, and I mean zero, freedom. But it didn't actually bother me that much. I still enjoyed the experience. The game has a lean feature which I thought was pretty awesome, and you can lean standing up, crouched, or fully proned on the floor. You just hold LB and you can go left to right. The only downside I found to this was trying to lean and aim at the same time with your index finger on the left bumper and your middle finger on the trigger. Some of the things that I liked were the ability to get ammo off your teammates at any time, so you're never going to run out of ammo. All you do is go up to them and press X. The only slight issue you'll come across with that is every now and again you'll ask a soldier that doesn't have the same weapon and he won't be able to give you ammo for that gun. I also like the optics in the game, from the thermal vision to the night vision to the red dots that are on the guns. I mean, I actually think that's just something they've done really well in the game. A bulk of the gameplay revolves around a few select scenarios, one of those scenarios being a shooting gallery type situation. You'll see this come up time and time again, where the objective is for you to clear out the area. When not clearing out, you're either escaping, invading, or observing, as well as at times aiding your certain assets. Going back to the controls, any COD player wouldn't find themselves unfamiliar on this game. Left stick is sprint, right stick is stab, B is crouch and prone, X is reload, Y is change weapons, A is jump. So a button scheme very similar to COD. The gameplay itself feels fairly smooth. It's a little bit clunky, but it's not too bad. You don't feel like you've not got control. Another thing which I'd noticed, which I thought had been done well in this game, was the lighting. It really did make the difference. It really did make a certain scene stand out or just look that much better. For those of you who are getting a bit concerned and wondering, like, why isn't this guy complaining? Do not worry, that is all coming at the end. One final point about the controls, and this is something that's easy to miss. If you double tap Y, you get your pistol out. You've got it all the time, so remember that. And a few other things. Up gets you your HUD, left grenade launcher if your gun's got it, down night vision goggles, and right changes between single shot and automatic if the gun can do it, and that's all on the D-pad. Aiming is shooting, you know, left trigger, right trigger, and grenades is the right bumper. Okay, just to quickly touch on this without ruining too much of the experience for you, I just want to give you an idea of the missions that you can expect, and the scenarios. You've got like an invasion on a village. It's like exterior and interior. This is at night. You'll find yourself in courtyard situations, times where you're using night viz, times where you're on a rooftop, in a cave, you're storming buildings, you're suddenly in a graveyard, airplane graveyard, you're calling in airstrikes, you're on a, you're storming a hillside, you're fighting your way up the hillside, you're destroying targets, you're defending the guys around you, you're taking out enemy camps. Like, this is all the kind of thing that you can expect through the campaign. Okay, so listing what I've got here, which I don't think covers every weapon, but it will give you a good idea of what's in the game. You've got the Dragunov sniper, the M21 EBR sniper, the M110 sniper, the M1014 shotgun, the MP7A1 SMG, the PKM LMG, the SAW LMG. You've got the M4, there's an RPG, there's a G3, so there's still quite a good selection. In the Medal of Honor campaign, I noticed a few moments which I definitely thought were Modern Warfare inspired. There were those sayings during the loading screens that tried to add like depth to the game. There was also a mission where you basically started with like just a knife because you'd crash landed, and if any of you have played the end of Modern Warfare 2, like, you've seen that before. And also those times where you're kind of shell shocked, everything's blurry, you're getting dragged through fire. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure Modern Warfare 2 wasn't the first game to do any of those things, but for me and for a lot of other people, you'll see those times and that's the game that will spring to mind. The argument people try to raise between like the Bad Companies and the Modern Warfares or the Medal of Honors is that compared to Modern Warfare, these other games are based more in reality, whereas Modern Warfare's campaign is a lot more Hollywood. But in my opinion, reality shouldn't even be brought into the argument, because the second you start touching on that, where do you stop? Okay, onto the difficulty. Well, I played this on hard, and I've got to be honest, it was one of the more easy hards, so to speak, that I've ever played. I would guess that it took me around 6 to 8 hours to complete the game. Some people are saying they've done it on hard in around 5 hours, but if you're new to shooters or struggle or just die a lot, I reckon you could easily push this to around 10 hours. So, on to the ultimate question, how much does it take to die on hard? About this much. And this much. And finally this much. Question answered. The only time I remember struggling and dying was when I was up against a turret. Specifically one section of the game where you're sort of on a hill and you're all being funneled down the middle and there's a turret at the top. That bit screwed me up. My advice on how best to get through the game is just take some very simple steps, and that is use cover and take your time. The story, well, it didn't exactly move me. I found it quite easy to ignore, actually. The idea is that you play a tier 1 operator, so you're basically Spec Ops. There's you and your buddies and you've been sent in to go do these specialised covert missions, and that's about it. That's about all there is to the story. If there's one thing you'd have to say about the story, it's literally the lack of a story. However, the thing about Medal of Honor, and even the developers will tell you this, is that the story is actually about the relationship and the brotherhood between the soldiers, and that's mostly what the experience is about, how these guys get through this together. Oh, this is where the fun starts. In this first clip, I shoot a guy off a turret, but the turret continues to shoot, so I check out the truck, and it turns out there's a driver. I try and kill the driver, can't kill him, he's not even there. But this scene's like a triple fail, because my whole team run past a guy who's like right next to them as well. I test the water as well with this sort of ghost turret to see if it can hurt me, and it actually can. I don't know what else to say about this clip, except it was just funny at the time. Another glitch I had was just a squad mate who was literally just stuck in the ground. Luckily that glitch didn't actually affect the mission, but some do, like this next clip where I needed my squad mate to further the mission, but he was like too busy teleporting around. When anything like that happens, you're forced to restart the mission. To get your own back, you might find yourself repeatedly killing your teammates. This next clip, I just threw it in there because it made me piss myself at the time. I asked the guy for the ammo, and then he just gave me this like demon look. Moving on to character animations, this gives Twitch Shooter a new meaning. Some of the animations are alright, but some of them are freaking shocking. Like, check out how he gets on this quad bike. Yeah, nice. One complaint, which I imagine is going to become quite common with this game, is the restrictiveness. Like, sometimes you can't walk where you want to walk, sometimes you can't aim where you want to aim, but the squad mates around you can do absolutely whatever they want. I think a lot of that's going to annoy a lot of people. Your character's basically just a little bit disabled. Something else which is just absolutely wank is watching the textures render before your eyes. This shouldn't be a problem, but it happens quite often, and this is with the game installed to the hard drive. This all kind of sounds like I'm complaining my ass off, which is true, but another thing I've got to go on about is the AI. Not just the friendly AI, the enemy AI. They are both retarded. Your teammates barely help you, and the enemy AI don't even react to bullets. Another point about the AI is the confusion that goes on. Sometimes you'll see the enemy and you think they're friendly, but they're not, and then sometimes you see friendlies, but you think they're the enemy, and that happens quite a few times. And as far as I could tell, it came down to your responsibility to press up so that you can get the HUD on the screen and see where your teammates are. Okay, so just to finish up this section of nitpicking, I'm just going to reel off a list of complaints, not necessarily all mine. And let's start with the grenades. They are terrible. The reload animation is terrible. The game has got no co-op. There are plenty of times where the frame rate has an absolute shit. Some people might even complain about the spelling of honour, but you know, it is an American game, so you can't really complain about that. The explosions are bad, and it just goes on. Okay, from what I've been reading, this game's been getting mixed reviews. Like, some people are just all out slating it like 0, and then other people, you know, for the most part, it's actually getting quite positive reviews, you know, sort of 8 out of 10 and things like this. If you are going to judge this game, I would say judge it after you've played the campaign and the multiplayer, as opposed to just hating on it because you hate EA. Some of the more sensible people have actually been coming out with reasons for why they dislike the game. I mean, some of it has been, some people feel as though the glitches ruin their experience, or there's not enough vehicles, or the game was too short. So like I say, just spend some time building an actual opinion. Just to clear a few things up, just in case I've been too negative, is the game epic? No. Is it Hollywood? No. But it is still a good experience. I do, you know, if I was to, I could genuinely recommend this game to someone. It was an enjoyable experience. Okay people, I'm here with my friend Shaun. Just say hi.
Hello.
Earlier on you made the point about how the Medal of Honor campaign is just unsatisfying. What did you mean by that?
It's very anticlimax. When you compare it to other titles such as Modern Warfare 2, they offer better story arcs.
Okay, let's just clear it up for the people out there. You're a lifelong Battlefield player.
Yes.
And what would you say about the Medal of Honor multiplayer? I mean, you weren't a fan. You did not like the beta.
No, I didn't. No,
but you've recently played the full version of the multiplayer, and and what did you have to say about that?
It's very interesting. They've improved a lot of aspects from the beta. Better graphics, better engine by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
There's people die a lot easier, which unfortunately is the nature of the game.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Okay, so we'll just leave it there. Thanks for that, Shawnee.
Thank you.
Give us a quick goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'd just like to say thanks for watching. Please subscribe so that I can continue to do this. Also, look out for my multiplayer review, which will be coming soon. And let's just finish on a headshot montage, because that is one of the best things to do in this game, is just blow people's heads off.